Hi Judy, I'd like to welcome you to Yorkshire on behalf of Screen Yorkshire. Could you just tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Judy Counihan. I'm a film producer and an executive producer in television. I've been in the industry for approximately 20 years. I started as a runner. I worked in music videos, and then I made my first feature film called Before the Rain in 1992. I then made several more feature films, including the Oscar winners Antonia's Line and No Man's Land. I've worked in television and TV drama. I've been the director of film at Skillset, which run the £50 million strategy for film training and skills in the British industry. And recently I have produced 2 films for Slingshot and Vertigo. The Slingshot film was a French film, which will be released next year, starring Hugh Bonneville and Eric Cantona. And Faint Heart, which I produced for Slingshot with Vertigo Films, which is the first MySpace film. And they'll both be released next year. And more recently, I've been working at Arts Alliance on a project called Identity of the Soul, which is a multimedia project, and we've just taken it on tour in the West Bank.
So you're up in Yorkshire today doing a session on pitching. Can you tell us why pitching is so important to you and what led you to writing the book, The Pitch?
Well, first of all, I've been in the industry a long time, and Eileen Quinn, my co-author, and I have worked in both television and feature films as producers. And one of the things we both realised was that A, pitching creative material is quite difficult, and B, there is something you can learn and improve on. So we looked at other industries and how they sell, and we basically adapted the tools of those other industries to creative material. And we were lucky enough to do a deal with Faber and Faber to produce the book called The Pitch. Why is it important, pitching? I mean, you know, a lot of people in this country hate it. I suppose because it's selling. And really, to get anything made, anything creative, it's important to be concise about what it is you're pitching, the story, and then to know what you want out of people. And that's all about information gathering and communication skills. And it's something that I think terrifies creative people, largely because they're asking for something and they don't want to be rejected, but also because you don't have a lot of time to do it, and you need to make it count when you're sitting in front of buyers.
So if someone's actually going in to do a pitch, can you tell us the key elements that they really need to have at the forefront of their mind?
Well, I think, like it says in the book, it's about 2 things. It's preparation. So you need to really prepare for who you're meeting, know as much about them as possible. Prepare your material, which is, again, about being very concise and getting across a lot of information in a very short space of time, and then knowing what you want from them. And actually, the more you prepare and the more you practice getting across the essence of your story, the more confident you'll be. And you'll do the buyers a favour. Because I think one of the big things that that people get very, very lost in is they think they have to give a blow-by-blow account of a script, and that is not the point of a pitch meeting. A pitch meeting is to garner information and to ask for something specific. So it is about finding out as much about the company and the person you're going to see as is possible, including personal details, knowing where they fit in the corporation, knowing their decision-making powers, knowing what else they've made or what they're thinking of making, what's worked, what hasn't worked. That's the first thing. The material, again, it's about knowing why it's special. It's about practicing it to see whether, you know, your friends, your partner, your, you know, other colleagues are interested, think you've got it down, think that it's entertaining. You can ask them how it makes them feel at the end, whether it's something they'd like to go to, how would you tweak it, and practice, practice, practice. And the more you know your project, the better you'll pitch it.
So are there any particularly memorable experiences of you doing a pitch or someone subjecting you to a pitch?
Well, I'm subjected to a lot of pitches, and I think because I've learnt to be a little bit more blunt with people, but when I started out I used to listen, and sometimes people would go on for 2 hours and they would do a blow-by-blow account, scene by scene, of a story which was just appalling. And similarly, you know, I've pitched to people in circumstances where basically they cut me off in mid-pitch and take a phone call or walk out of the room or just say, not interested, in mid-pitch. So I don't take it personally. It goes down to having passion, you know. How much do you love? Can you live with this project for a very long time? And do you really, really believe in it? Because that can't be diminished. But there is a point where you also need to learn to walk away. You need to know when the writing's on the wall.
Sure. So we've talked a lot about pitching. More broadly speaking, what do you think about the state of the TV and film industry today, where it's going, the changes over the last 5 years or so?
Well, I think obviously the internet is probably the biggest single change. How we view things has changed enormously. You know, the fact that we can view things online, use it as a marketing tool. It's much more targeted marketing. There are whole online communities that can be reached. The My Movie mashup film that we did with Vertigo showed how to build a broad-based audience before the film has even been shot. I think that the way we watch any kind of content is changing. We have more choice, really, as viewers, not just about what we watch, but how we watch, when we watch. And I think the challenge is all about marketing. It's all about how to reach audiences at a time that suits them. And it's about, yes, it's about reaching those audiences. I think that's the biggest change. And the other thing I sort of think is, you know, I see that there's obviously, because of digital technology, it's broadened out what we can do in filmmaking, not just because we can make much, much lower budget films because of the digital technology, because you can edit at home, because you can screen it online, but also bigger budget. For example, archive can now be digitized and it's actually less expensive, so you can create entire films out of archive, whereas before you needed labs to do that. You don't need that now.
Sure.
So I think it's really, really exciting, because I also think that you can't stop creativity. So although the technological landscape may change, the markets may change, money comes, money goes, I think the creative community always adapt to that. And I think it's really exciting.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.